Hello, how are you, my dear students? Today we will discuss chapter 2. And before discussing chapter 2, let's remember together what happened in chapter 1. We in chapter 1 know the hero of the story called Antonio, and we know that he was the richest merchant in Venice, and he had many friends. One of his best friends was Bassanio. Bassanio wanted to borrow some money or more money to go to Belmont and to court or marry Portia. Here in chapter 2, let's read review question. Question number 1. Do you think it will be easy for Bassanio to marry Portia? 2. What do you think Bassanio will do to convince Portia to marry him? Number 3. Do you think Portia might like any of the men who come to visit her? Let's start. As we said before, Portia was young, beautiful and rich, and she wasn't married. She's like Antonio. She was unhappy and tired. We will introduce to a new character called Neressa. Neressa is Portia's maid. What is the meaning of maid? Maid means a servant. Okay. Here Neressa told Portia that people can get sick from having too much as easy as they get sick from not having enough. What does it mean? Neressa means that the rich people or the people who has a lot of thing or too much thing, who is rich and is having too much can get sick also as the people who doesn't have anything in the life. Portia said, "Those are wise words, Neressa." So here in the comment, who said, "Those are wise words"? Portia said to Neressa. Where? In Belmont or in Portia's house or in Portia's palace? Okay, the situation of this comment, because Neressa told her that people could get sick from having too much as easily as they got sick from not having enough. She said, Portia said, "That's true." Neressa here said, "Wise words are not much good if nobody takes any notice." And Portia said, "That's true, but if it were as easy to do something as it's easy to say it, then poor people would live in palaces. I can easily teach 20 people what to do, but it's much more difficult to be one of the 20 people that follow my own teaching." Here, why was Portia unhappy? Let's know the reason. Portia was unhappy because she wanted a husband, but her father's will. What is the meaning of will here? Will means a set of directions about giving away what you own after you die. Okay? So, but her father's will stopped her from choosing one that she liked. At the same time, it stopped her from refusing one that she didn't like. Her father had arranged a kind of guessing game for men who came to court or to marry his daughter. There were 3 boxes, and each one had something written on it, and every suitor had to choose a box. What is the meaning of suitor? Suitor means the man who comes to court or to marry Portia. Portia's father thought the right man would understand the meaning of the 3 boxes and choose the right one. But the man who chose the right box would marry Portia. But if a man chose the wrong box, he would never marry anyone at all. So this is the reason behind Portia's sadness. She is sad because of the condition that her father put in his will. Anyone wants to marry Portia has to choose one of the box, and he has to choose the right one. If he chooses the right box, he will marry Portia. But if he can't choose the right one, or he chooses the wrong box, he would never marry any other woman. Her first suitor was a prince from Naples. Portia didn't like him because he talked about cats all the time. She didn't like cats, so she didn't like him. The second suitor was a count. Count means a rich and a noble man. But Portia also didn't like him because he always looked sad or angry. The third one was a French lord, and Portia also didn't like him either because he didn't have his own way of thinking. The next one was a baron. Baron means a nobleman also from England, and she didn't like him because he had never studied anything. He couldn't speak with him. She couldn't speak with him because he didn't understand Latin, French, or Italian. The German duke was worst of all because he was drunk all the time. But all of these suitors didn't have the courage to choose the boxes, to play this guessing game. They thought the risk was too big. What was Portia's feeling towards Bassanio? Portia here remembered that while her father was still alive, a young man called Bassanio came to visit them from Venice. And she liked him a lot. She thought he was brave and interesting and handsome. She hoped he would court her or marry her and be brave enough to choose a box. Perhaps he would choose the right box and make her his wife. Instead of this, however, she received news that the Prince of Morocco was on his way to court her, and she said, "Oh, not another one." She was tired of suitors. She thought her father had given her a very difficult problem. So what was the problem Portia's father had given her? The problem is, if one of the suitors was brave enough to choose a box and chose the right one, she would have to marry him whether she liked him or not. And if he chose the wrong box, she couldn't marry him even if she liked him. And it was more than annoying. So it's a big problem for Portia. Let's read the review questions. Who was Nerissa? We said that Nerissa was Portia's maid. Why did Portia not like the man who came from England? She didn't like him because he had never studied anything. She couldn't speak with him because he didn't understand Latin, French, or Italian. What condition did Portia's father make about men who wanted to marry Portia? They had to play the guessing game. They had to choose one of the three boxes, and if the man chooses the right box, he will marry Portia, and if he or the man chooses the wrong box, he will never marry any other woman. Now we have finished our chapter 2. Enjoy and thanks for watching.